you very much, and thanks for the nice introduction. I will try to share my screen just a second. So let's see. Can you see my screen now? Yeah,
Yes.
hopefully you can. And I think from my perspective for India, so that's the background. Just a couple of words on the company first. Let's see if I can get it to change. Yes. So Statkraft, you might not be familiar with it, but we are the largest producer of renewable power in Europe. But we also have activities on a global scale, but in some few selected markets outside of Europe. And India is, of course, one of them, one of these keys. The question, well, you know, probably the answer to that. Why is a renewable company like Statkraft interested in hydrogen? Well, you see, we have a quite large production basis, and it's mainly hydropower, but we are going into, to a larger and larger extent, solar and wind, where we see large opportunities. And according to our analysis, we see that there will be a tremendous increase in production of renewable energy in the world going forward. And this different purposes. First of all, it will replace fossil fuels in the power production. It will go into new uses like mobility. That's one of the key usage areas. And it will be used to produce hydrogen. And in our view, it's clear that it's not possible to reach the targets of the Paris Agreement without the use of hydrogen. And we believe it has a specific role in the hard to abate sectors like heavy transport on land and sea, and also within industry. And the industry example I will revert a bit back to a bit later in the presentation. But as a feedstock to chemical industry like ammonia, it has lots of potential, and that's something to revert to. In our analysis, hydrogen will make out for 20 to 25% of the emission reductions over the period until 2050. So it's an important factor to reach the targets. And I think many of the esteemed colleagues already have touched upon the point, why is this happening? And basically, it's due to a falling cost of renewables. And it's been lots of talk about hydrogen for many decades, as most of you know, I guess. But why will it happen now? Well, the cost of renewables has dropped tremendously, and the political focus is so high. In addition, as also has been mentioned before, it's of course the largest source of cost for producing hydrogen. So, but this big cost fall will also benefit hydrogen production. And there's been lots of good numbers on the cost developments on electrolyzers, and also potential there. So I will not dwell too much on that. We also see that there has been a cost fall within the two key technologies now, alkaline and PEM, continue into the future, maybe 60 to 80% more over the next 8-9 years until 2030. And then we envisage that by 2030, it will compete with gray hydrogen, or blue for that matter, with CCS at normal price ranges for power and gas. So you see around 50 euros per ton, and now the cost of CO2 in the market now is above 60. So it's we can get there, and it can happen quite fast. Yes, and my topic for the talk today is actually ammonia. So I'll take it one step further. And why is ammonia interesting? I know you're of course aware of this, and opportunity, both seen from, what should we say, a Norwegian perspective, where we have quite good amounts of reasonable renewable energy available, but that's of course also an opportunity for India. And it depends a bit on what you want to use it for. If it goes directly into use as ammonia, then of course it's easier to be competitive. If you have to compare and crack it back to hydrogen and then back to power, then of course the cost becomes high, but in some markets it will even be able to compete there. So having access to reasonably able to produce both hydrogen and ammonia could be a core competitive skill. Or this ammonia plant that's owned by Yara is currently using gray hydrogen, but will now be using green hydrogen in its production process. And the plan is that this project will start up by the end of 2026. So in summary, I would say that we need hydrogen to meet the Paris goals. We believe it will be competitive by 2030, and for some purposes even before, provide pricing. We think ammonia is a very promising zero-emission fuel for shipping, and yes, I think this is an opportunity for Norway, as we see, but also for India. So that was what I planned to say. So thank you very much.